I want to win the Olympics. I want a gold medal for me, for my island, for my family. It definitely affects you mentally a lot more than I thought it would. You could go from one of the top athletes in the country to not even being an All-American. Threatened me to go to Florida, beat me up, and she opened the door and she's like, Karoline Ortiz Rosado. My full government name. I was like, no!
Is it easy for you to set such incredibly high goals?
I don't know who I am without wrestling. Who is Karoline without wrestling? The room kind of went quiet. The phone went quiet. I was just hearing like mumble, like they were talking to me and I wasn't hearing anything else. I remember crying all day pretty much, and the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. Yeah, it was, now I'm representing a whole island. I'm representing my people, and it's just super huge for me. And Puerto Ricans, I feel like they show love and support even though they don't know anything about the sport. I haven't really told too many people about it either.
Welcome to the world of sports. My name is Louis Helm, and I'm a student and soccer player at Grandview University. Each week, I sit down with athletes and professionals from across the sports industry to talk about their careers and their paths into sports, but also their beliefs, values, and perspectives. My guest in the fourth episode is Karoline Ortiz. Karoline is a wrestler at Grandview University and part of Puerto Rico's national team. In our conversation, we talk about her journey in wrestling, how she deals with major setbacks, and how special it is to wrestle for her country. Moreover, Karoline opens up about a past abusive relationship, her future career aspirations, and her biggest goals. Now, here's my conversation with Karoline Ortiz. Karoline, thank you so much for joining me today. I think it's going to be really interesting because my knowledge of wrestling is very limited. And I want to jump straight into it with the usual opening question I have here, and that is kind of deep already. What does wrestling mean to you?
Oof, that is a hard question. Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm very excited for this. What does wrestling mean to me? I feel like it means a lot of different things. I feel like it just kind of defines me. It defines my purpose of like waking up in the morning and just, I don't even know how to answer that, to be honest. It just means a lot. I feel like it has changed my life for the better ever since I started wrestling. And I've had so many opportunities because of the sport. So, I don't know. I don't know where I would be without wrestling right now. And I think that says a lot.
Can you emphasize a bit more on how it changed your life for the better?
So I am part of the Puerto Rico national team. So I've been able to travel a lot and just, see the other side of the world pretty much. And I also feel like it made me focus in school. It made me come to college. I didn't think I would ever come to college. Like, if it wasn't because of the sport, I would have never came and got my degree. I feel like that changed my whole path. I thought about joining the military right after high school, but then I talked to my coach and he was like, hey, like, you should actually check out college wrestling. Like, you're pretty good or whatever. And I didn't want to just stop my career at high school, so I decided to come to college and, continue my path. And I did college. I'm still in college currently. Did the whole world team thing. I kind of dropped out of school once I made the world team. There's a little backstory to that, but it's okay. And then traveled the world, competed, tore my ACL wrestling for Team Puerto Rico. So I decided that was the best time for me to come back and finish school while still trying to heal and get back on the mat.
The backstory you just talked about, do you want to get into it straight away?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let's get into it. So when I was at my old school at Missouri Baptist University, I got into a toxic relationship, which ended up getting abusive. And after it got abusive, I kind of broke it off, and it just got really hard because he became stalking me on Instagram, blackmailing me with, X-rated pictures of me, and still threatening me, even on campus, even if we weren't together, saying that he would still beat me up, that I need to drop the charges because I did like file charges against him. The school didn't do anything about it. I went through Title IX and everything I had to go through. Um, so, and then he would, knock on my window at night, like just stuff like that to throw me off my game pretty much, and still kind of just get in my head and be abusive in other ways. And, yeah, so, yeah, I just didn't feel safe at the school anymore. And then the police didn't do anything about it either. So I got a restraining order and everything, and they would tell me, like, just let us know when it happens next time. And then I would, and then let us know when it happens again. And then they just ended up not doing anything. So I moved back to Florida. And then he found my home address there and threatened me to go to Florida, that he was going to come to Florida and find me, beat me up. So I ended up moving to Puerto Rico. I had made the national team before that, though. So it was kind of like the perfect excuse of dropping out of school, which wasn't really the real reason. I haven't really told too many people about it either. But, yeah, I ended up moving back to Puerto Rico, traveling the world. Didn't think I would come back to school, to be honest, especially after everything that happened. So maybe, this injury is a blessing in disguise in some type of way. I mean, I try to look at it that way. Some days are harder than others, but, yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that, but also thank you very much for sharing that. That's a very sensitive topic. And can I maybe ask what made you decide to come back now to Grandview and keep on wrestling here?
Well, a couple of reasons. So, one, to finish my degree. Before I tore my ACL, I was already thinking about coming back to school. So I was looking at different schools. Grandview stands out because they're one of the top programs in the NAIA and in nationals. I mean, they've been ranked second this whole season. They've been I think they took second last year and the year prior to that. So it's one of the top programs. I wasn't really looking into the number one school, which is Life. Don't really like that program, so I just kind of stayed away from that and looked from 2 down. There's great partners here, a lot of different partners to train with here. I just feel like I could actually get better here and also get my degree. Now, will I be able to wrestle this season? Maybe, maybe not. It's not up to me, but I'm happy with my decision to coming here. That's for sure.
Why?
Again, like I said, one of the top programs. The coaches are super nice, super understanding. I always communicate with them. The school, I also feel like school has gotten a lot easier for me, not just because, it's a different school, but I'm also not competing, so I can focus on school. Like, this is the first semester I've gotten straight A's. Like, that's amazing for me. This is like a new accomplishment because I was more of an athlete-student than a student-athlete, and now I'm understanding I have to compete in the classroom just like I do on the mat. So, yeah.
Well, what do you enjoy more, being an athlete-student or a student-athlete?
Oh, for sure, an athlete-student. I mean,
okay.
I feel like, yeah, if it was up to me, I would get back on the mat and have, like, C's. But, this is the hand I've been dealt with. So, I mean, I've been trying to work my butt off on school and in my classes and not miss anything. So, I feel like you could really see the difference between when I was at my old school and here, and I'm really, like, putting in the work. So.
You just told about your partners you have here to train with. I want to get into that a bit because I have no clue how wrestling practice works.
Okay.
How does that affect practice, and who do you practice with?
So I feel like having a good practice partner can change a lot of things. It can kind of change your whole season. If you don't really have a good partner that's pushing you throughout the whole practice, that's telling you, hey, like, fix this, just because you're tired, you should, like, be doing this, or, like, that's just slacking. It could be a partner that's just slacking and talking to you the whole practice. You're not getting any work in. You could go from one of the top athletes in the country to not even, like, being an All-American at nationals just because of your training partner. So I feel like that changes a lot of things. Right now, currently, I am practicing with, like, the GAs because I don't want to mess up none of the girls' training because they can't go on me super hard because of my knee. So I just go with the GAs. I go slowly, taking my time. But so far, like, I love everything that I'm seeing in the room. These girls are, like, really putting in hard work to get to where they're going and making those adjustments from the first tournament to now to getting better every single day.
Also, what I found out about wrestling, and in some programs it's maybe more than others, that you're basically, at the end of the day, competing against your training partners, right?
Yes, sometimes it is that way. I mean, we can only take, I believe, it's, I want to say 12 weight classes to conference and nationals. So that's your starting lineup. And your training partner is usually somebody around your weight. So y'all are most likely going the same weight classes throughout the whole season. So yes, eventually you do have to go against your training partner for the spot, who's starting, who's not. And yeah, that can be some, like, what's the word? Can have negative effects in the room, obviously, but I don't think it has so far. I think we're just pushing each other to our best. And I mean, at the end of the season, we'll see who starts, who doesn't. But everybody has been putting in the work and just trying to get each other to get better. So,
have you ever been in a situation where that caused issues?
I don't think so. I don't think I have personally. But yeah, I haven't. I feel like I've had my spot, so you just kind of have to wrestle for it. Yeah. And may the best woman win, pretty much.
Okay. Talking about wrestling in general, I want to know how you started with wrestling. How did it begin for you?
So I was actually a cheerleader, and I did modeling before I did wrestling. And one of the days that we had a football game after school, the football game, they start at like 6 p.m.-ish. School ends around 2, 3 p.m. And my mom told me that day that she was not going to take me back to school if I went back home. So I had to stay after school and do absolutely nothing. So I'm like waiting outside. This was in Florida, and it was like one of the hottest days. And my coach, not at the time, the wrestling coach, like, is walking past me, and he's like, hey, like, if you want to wait inside while we practice, you can. Like, it's hot outside. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So then we go inside to the practice room, and I'm just watching. I'm kind of paying attention, kind of not, a little bit on my phone, but I'm seeing what they're doing. It's cool. It's interesting. And I was just about to leave. They were still practicing. And he's like, hey, like, thank you for, like, staying. If you ever want to come back, like, we're in preseason, you can come back to just watch or try it out, whatever you like to do. And I was like, okay, perfect. That was a Friday night football game. Came back that next Monday and started practicing. I quit cheerleading, didn't tell my mom. So that's another thing. I didn't tell my mom. And one of the days she was, like, waiting for me to come out of practice, and she seen all the cheerleaders leave practice and not her daughter. So she's like, where is Karoline? So she goes inside, and she asked the cheerleading coach, she's like, hey, like, where's my daughter at? He's like, your daughter? Like, your daughter's quit a long time ago. She's like, what do you mean she quit? And he was like, yeah, she quit. She started doing wrestling. She's like, wrestling? He's like, they're down the hall. So she goes down the hall to find me at wrestling practice. She opens up the door, and she's like, Karoline Stephanie Ortiz Rosado. My full government name. I was like, no.
The worst nightmare.
No. I, like, froze. She's like, get your butt in the car. I was like, okay. I grabbed my stuff. I left. And then she was super mad, obviously. Within reason. I lied to her, you know. But she told me I would never do wrestling. She's like, no, we don't do that. That's a boy sport. Like, you're not going to do this. And then she didn't let me practice for, like, a week and a half. And I wouldn't talk to her. I'm like, no. Like, I have my ego high. You know, you're a teenager. I would just look at her in the morning and leave and come back, just super sad. And then I begged her. I'm like, please let me go back. Please let me go back. She was like, no. So I ended up texting the coach. And I was like, can you please talk to my mom? Like, please, I want to come back. And he was like, he talked to her. He told her, like, hey, you know, she's been getting bullied. Because I was getting bullied when I first came to the States. So he's like, this could be, you know, bring her confidence up, like, learn some self-defense. Like, you should let her do this. So that's the only reason my mom let me do it. But she told me, but you have to have straight A's. You have to have good grades. I was like, okay. And in high school, that's what I had. I had great grades so she wouldn't say nothing to me. If like my grade was slipping to a B, she's like, what is this? It's like, okay. And I'll bring it back up. I was like, please don't take me out. And yeah, I mean, I love her. She still doesn't like wrestling, especially since like my leg, my knee, I got surgery. She really doesn't like wrestling. And she's like, you think you're going to go back? And I'm like, yeah, of course. I love it. But yeah, that's how I got into it.
When did you come to the States?
I think like middle school-ish,
Middle school. Okay.
closer to like high school.
And what age were you when you started wrestling?
I want to say 13,
13.
14, 13, 14,
Okay.
around there.
You just said that prejudice, which I guess many fighting sports, probably wrestling, have too, about being a boy sport. Did that affect you in any other way, maybe even later?
That wrestling's a boy sport?
Yeah, that prejudice that your mom definitely had in the beginning.
No, I don't think it's ever affected me. I feel like, yeah, I hear that a lot, but I kind of just brush it off like, okay, and I'm proving you wrong. It's not a boy sport. And wrestling, women's wrestling is growing so much. Like, it's just there. It's not a boy sport. Anybody can do it. We're doing it, and we're killing it. I feel like women's wrestling is bringing back wrestling, like, on the map. Obviously, wrestling has always been a big thing. I feel like it was falling off for a little bit, and it's picking right back up. Because they were going to actually take it out of the Olympics until the woman came.
How do you see that wrestling is picking up right now?
I don't know exactly the statistics with the States. At least when I was in high school, girls wrestling wasn't a sanctioned sport. They sanctioned it there. I think almost the whole nation is sanctioned. I'm not sure. Don't, come at me with the stats. But I feel like it's just growing. And that is a fact. Like, women's wrestling is the biggest sport growing in college right now.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah. You started in high school in Florida, right?
Yes.
Was that the same high school for all 4 years?
Yes, it was.
And straight after that, you then decided to go to Missouri Baptist?
Yeah. So I wrestled all 4 years in high school in Florida at Dr. Phillips High School. And then I ended up going to Missouri Baptist it was like a rough 3 years or so, almost a full 3 years. And that's when I ended up moving back to Puerto Rico for 2 years, 2.5 years. And then now we're here.
And how did you move from your high school to Missouri Baptist? How did that come about?
So my coach knew the head coach at Missouri Baptist. So my high school coach knew him. They've been friends for like a long time. So he told me, hey, like this is a good school to go to. I can coach you. Like I can come up on the competition days and I can coach you throughout those days because I know the coach and he's cool with it. And I was like, okay. So I went up there and that's what I did. He would come to all my competitions and he would be in my corner coaching me. And then I just feel like for a little bit, that just wasn't enough because I wasn't really getting along with the head coach at Missouri Baptist. So I told my coach I was thinking about just like leaving and transferring. He's like, no. I'll come up more for practices. And I was like, okay. So the next year he started coming up for a lot of the practices. And then it got to a point where like it would be good until he left. And then me and the coach would kind of bump heads. I'm like, I just don't think there's a place for me. And he ended up getting the assistant coach position there, like full time. So he ended up moving to Missouri for a little bit just to kind of coach. And then after that, they ended up firing the head coach. So he became the head coach at Missouri Baptist University.
Throughout everything you wrestled so far, what has been the most fun time?
Oof. I could think of a couple. I mean, one would be when I wrestled in Spain. That was my first competition, like a world championship with Team Puerto Rico. So it was pretty cool to travel, see Spain, see a little bit of everything. And then I think I competed pretty well there. I mean, I didn't get the results I wanted, but I definitely think that was one of the top competitions like I've competed pretty well in. Another moment that kind of highlights in my head is in high school, my junior year. I was at Fargo. Fargo's like one of the biggest tournaments of like a high school season in the nation. It's one of the biggest tournaments. It's like, it used to be a week and a half long because we had a tournament and a duel after. But for that tournament, I had never All-American before, all 3 years. I would always like lose in the blood round, which sucked. And that tournament, I won my quarterfinals, so I made it to the semifinals. And once I won those quarterfinals, like I kind of just like let out the biggest breath because I felt like I wasn't good enough, I guess you could say, because I would always lose in the blood round, blood round, blood round.
What is the blood round?
Blood round is after you lose one. The blood round is you need one more win to All-American. Like, you automatically place. Doesn't matter if you lose the next 2 matches, like, you automatically place. If you lose that match, you're out of the tournament. If you win that match, you All-American. So it's like you have to win that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for that tournament, I was in the quarterfinals. And once you make it to the semifinals, you automatically place.
Okay.
So once I won that quarterfinal match, I pinned the girl. Like, I literally pinned her, and I come up, and I'm like, and I'm super happy. Like, I was like, there's no way. And again, it's one of the biggest tournaments of the season, so that was like the biggest relief. And I wrestled like a lot that day too, so that's one of the 2 moments that kind of pop into my mind.
When did you first join the national team?
Ooh, good question. 2, 4, like 3.5 years ago.
How special is it to wrestle for your country?
Oh, super special. You get to, wear your flag with pride. You're not just representing, like, your family. I feel like when you step out on the mat, even here, you're representing, obviously, your school. You're representing you. You're representing your last name, your family. Now I'm representing a whole island. I'm representing my people. And it's just super huge for me. And Puerto Ricans, I feel like they show love and support even though they don't know anything about the sport. As soon as you see a Puerto Rican flag, they see me like competing. Oh, Puerto Rico, oh, like, share, like, you go, they're in my comments, go for it. And I know a lot of people back home are watching too once we're away on trips, so it just means a lot to me. Like, it's just a surreal feeling, an unreal feeling.
Was that also your proudest moment in wrestling for Puerto Rico for the first time, or in general just wrestling for the country?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
That making my first world team was definitely like, I was super proud of myself for that. I never thought I could make it this far in wrestling. At least like my younger self, when I first started off wrestling, I didn't think I would even be up in college wrestling. So like being able to represent my island, that's like an even bigger step to where I thought this whole wrestling career was gonna go.
Do you remember how you found out for the very first time that you were part of the team?
Well, with wrestling, you don't find out. You kind of have to go down to the island and compete for a spot.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So it's different.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So you really earn it yourself then?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I feel like kind of like a little bit of an elephant in the room is the big injury you had a couple of months ago, right?
Yes.
Do you just want to get into it and into what happened?
Yeah. We had a duel, which is like one lineup of one team versus the other one. So we had a duel against one of the biggest schools, high schools here in the U.S. that came down to Puerto Rico to like come against Team Puerto Rico. Now, I'm not supposed to go against them because I'm kind of a little older than them, but my coach wanted to get me in some matches because I was training for a bigger tournament, Pan Am's. So he's like, let's get some matches in with them, and I was like, okay, cool. So my last match for the day, we didn't even wrestle like not even half of the match before I went for a sprawl to defend her shot, put my leg out. I feel like my shoe got caught on the mat and my knee was still trying to go back to like defend the shot. So once it got caught on the mat, my knee kind of went out and back in, and that's when I heard a pop. I felt the pop. I tore my ACL, my meniscus, kind of let go of whatever I was doing. She obviously stopped, and yeah. And what sucked with that was after that happened, they took me to the hospital, and then they only did an x-ray. They're like, hey, you'll be fine. You'll be back in 2 weeks. You just sprained your ACL, MCL, and PCL. I'm like, okay, all CLs. Okay, cool. They're like 2 weeks, and I was like, perfect. I thought it was worse than that. And then I went home. Like 3 days later, my knee just kept getting bigger and more swollen, like bigger and bigger and more purple. And it was getting harder and harder to put weight on it. And like by the third day, I got up out of bed. And once I woke up, couldn't put any weight on it. Like I was in so much pain. They ended up getting me crutches. And I ended up getting an MRI, and that's when they told me I tore my ACL fully.
Yeah, that is crazy because, I mean, I by no means want to take anything away from doctors, but I've also heard from a couple of soccer players here now that they've been basically diagnosed with a 2-3 week injury, and then they just found out, sometimes just back home, found out that they tore their ACL and basically had to do like 6 to whatever, 8-9 months of rehab. Yeah, how did you deal with that? How did you deal with finding out that you tore your ACL?
So I did the MRI, and they decided to give me a call to give me the results back. So once they called me, and I was at my coach's house, and they're trying to talk to me, but as soon as they told me it's completely torn, they were trying to talk about the next steps, and the room kind of went quiet, the phone went quiet. I was just hearing like mumble, like bzzz. They were talking to me, and I wasn't hearing anything else. So I ended up getting my coach, and I gave him the phone. I'm like, you talk to them. And I was just crying. I remember crying all day pretty much, and the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. Yeah, it was not just like back then, but like even now, it's definitely a hard thing to go through, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It definitely affects you mentally a lot more than I thought it would. Yeah, it's a hard path to go through. Yeah.
Can we get a bit into how it affected you mentally? Because I think it's really interesting.
Well, as someone who feels like my sport defines me, or like felt that way, kind of still feel that way, it's hard not being able to do something that you do every single day. I haven't taken a break off of wrestling, like complete break, since I was probably a sophomore in high school, I want to say. So like the longest break I've ever taken is probably like a week and a half from wrestling ever since. Like even season, summer, we're always training. So my coach always told me never to get out of wrestling shape, so he would never let us get out of wrestling shape. So imagine going, what is it, like 9 years? Well, less than that, like 7 years or so, doing the same thing every day, and then getting called and be like, hey, you're technically not going to do it anymore for like a bit. It's just kind of heartbreaking, and then you don't know who you are anymore, pretty much. And I still am trying to figure that out. I don't know who I am without wrestling. Who is Karoline without wrestling? I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure it out and go through life without wrestling for right now. And at that moment, that's what it felt like. Oh, I can't wrestle. Like, what do you mean I can't wrestle? Like, you don't get it. I do have to wrestle. Like, what do you mean I need surgery? Like, you're lying. No. So there's a lot of denial going through, and I hear the word patience through this whole journey. Patience. You need to have patience. You need to have patience. I don't want to have patience. I have patience. I want to get back on the mat. I want to compete. I want to put everything out there that I can, But having this type of injury is like, no, sit your butt back down. Like, you need to stop and do something else in the meantime. And that's how it can, like, affect you, because I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm bored in my room. Before, like, I would be bored in my room and I could hit up a teammate or my coach and be like, hey, can we practice? Like, that was my free time. I'm going to go work out on my free time. And now it's like I'm in my room and it's like, okay, what can I do? Yeah.
How did you cope with it? What became your new wrestling for the time being?
I still don't know. Like, I'm telling you, it's been so hard. I don't know. I'm still trying to find out who I am, to be honest, and it's so hard. It's super hard on me. I've just been working out a lot, like upper body and stuff, since I can't do much leg stuff, so whenever, like, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I just kind of go lift. But it's kind of still not fulfilling me, so I don't know.
Even though the months you had now, what made you keep going?
Just knowing that I'll get back on the mat. Like, obviously after surgery, I've had a lot of time to just think ever since I had surgery, there's just moments I'm just thinking. And at the beginning of everything, I just pretty much had a self talk. Like, what do I want out of wrestling? Do I want to continue the sport? Like, where am I going from here after this? So I had like a real talk with myself, I guess you could say. And it's like, yes, I want to keep wrestling. Okay, I want to keep wrestling. Let's put that on the table. What do you want to do with wrestling? What are your goals? Okay, I want to win the Olympics. Those are my goals. So let's put that on the table. Okay, what do you need to do to get there? Okay, we need to do this. So that's, and then I come back to now. It's like, what do I need to do? I need to diet. I've been pretty strict about my diet ever since I had surgery because I've had surgery before in the past, and I ended up gaining almost 50 pounds because I got, I guess, kind of depressed and started overeating when I was sad, happy, angry, everything. So for this surgery, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick to a diet because it's so easy to gain weight when you can't run, when you can't use your legs, you can't freaking bike either. So stick to a strict diet. I did that, stuck to a strict diet. I'm like 3 pounds over my weight class right now. So I'm doing that. I had to get stronger. That was the problem area before I even got hurt. Okay, let's take that time to do it now. I had to get stronger, lifting every day. I have a lifting program with my coach. So I'm trying to do all the right things that I'm supposed to work my way back on the mat. And that's all I kind of can do for now, you know? So I'm trying to control what I can control. Yeah, there's hard days that sometimes I'm watching practice, and it was very hard for me to watch a practice when I first started. I would start crying and I would leave because I'm like, I want to be there. And then I would see girls complain. I'm like, you don't even know like what it's like to lose all of this. Like, are you kidding me? And it has given me so much like drive right now to like get back on the mat and like putting on my work because I know what it feels like to get it taken away from me for so long, and it sucks so much. So I feel like it's definitely given me more of a drive, more than anything, to get back on the mat.
And how is that process looking of getting back onto the mat?
We don't know yet. So, sadly, my knee has been buckling. Once like I can be standing up, or I can be like walking and it'll buckle, which like will shoot pain through my knee, and it does suck. So I ended up like getting an MRI done. They sent it back to Florida. I have an appointment with my surgeon this break, and then we'll go from there. If I need another surgery, then that's what we'll do. If I can't wrestle next semester for the school, it is what it is. I mean, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Like I sure want to get back on the mat for Grandview and wrestle with the Grandview singlet on, but obviously I'm gonna do whatever's best for me, and what's going to be best for my long-term career. Because if I was only gonna wrestle in college and call it quits after that, yeah, I might push it and get back on the mat now. But that's not my goal. I have long-term goals with the sport, so I'd rather get stuff fixed now before the 2028 Olympics. And if I have to sit out for 6 more months, hopefully not, knock on wood, but that's what I'll do, you know?
You keep on referring to your coach. For us, we just always, whenever we come to a new place, we pretty much have a new coach. Is that the same for you, or do you have kind of like a hometown coach next to all the Grandview coaches?
Yeah, so I have a couple coaches, but like I guess my hometown coach, my coach. When I say my coach, I mean like my high school coach, my first coach. He's like a father figure to me. He's basically my dad, to be honest. He's from Florida, and he always travels to Puerto Rico. He travels with me on my trips with Puerto Rico. That's my hometown coach. Now I have my coaches in Puerto Rico that are also there. I have 2 there. I have my coach in Florida, and then my 2 coaches here in Iowa now.
I want to learn more about that one particular coach who you said is kind of a father figure for you. How did that relationship develop?
I feel like through wrestling, obviously he has definitely pushed me to be who I am right now. I feel like I was a very shy kid. I was just like, I also couldn't, I was a cheerleader, but not a good cheerleader. I couldn't even do a cartwheel. So, like, I wasn't very athletic either. There's no athletes in my family. And he still saw something in me. Don't know what that was at that moment. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I could be good? And he's like, you can't be good. You got to put in the work. And I was like, oh, I don't think I can get very far with the sport. But sure. And he would always push me. And he didn't have to. He ended up paying for my trips to go to nationals. a couple times. So, not a couple times, all of the time. He paid for all my trips. And he saw something in me that I didn't. And even now, like, he still sees something in me, and he's the reason I keep, pushing myself. And he's my go-to person to, call. And I don't know, I feel like it's just gotten stronger and stronger. Plus, like, my dad isn't in my life. He's never been in my life either. So, and my mom had talked to him, like, look out for her and stuff. And he always told me, like, I promised your mom, like, I would look out for you and everything. So he's just always been there, not just as a coach, a mentor, pretty much my dad. Yeah. And then he also came with me to college, and, he's watched me grow up.
That's cool how some people just like coin your life in such a crazy way.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the Olympics right now, I remembered that when you were speaking with Ginny, I read that your goal is to win the Olympics, and the first thing that shot into my head was, is it easy for you to set such incredibly high goals?
Yes. I feel like, okay, one of the things my coach, bringing him back up, he's always telling me is to shoot high. So none of the tournaments that we go to, my expectations should be, I want to place. Everybody wants to place. Like, everybody wants to win it. If there's 8 spots and 15, 20 people want to win it, what makes you think you're going to even place? Like, they want the number 1 spot. I want to win the Olympics. I want a gold medal for me, for my island, for my family. And I don't know, I feel like that does come with ease, and it only comes with ease because I put in the work whenever I am able to. My coach is always in my corner. He's always, he's hard on me when he needs to be. He gives me praise when he has to. Like, and he sees something that I still try to see every single day, and he says he knows I can win the Olympics. So because he says such powerful words, I know I can win the Olympics.
So would you say he kind of developed that mentality into you?
For sure. Oh,
yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Okay.
He definitely has developed a lot of mentalities in me, like, be rough out there. I used to, again, be a model, cheerleader, so I'm like, He's like, no, you got to get out there, you got to fight. Like, one of the things was like, if you're on bottom, like, you got to think somebody's trying to drown you or they punched your mama. I'm like, okay, like, they punched my mom, I gotta get up. So it's like different mentalities he has put into my brain, and they're all great mentalities. And yeah, like, he has definitely developed me to not just the athlete that I am, but the woman I am today.
Because I think it's such a powerful thing to just dream big, and I realize for myself, like, even now on the trip we just had and where we went all the way to win, I was like, you're telling yourself every day you're gonna win, you can win, but like deep down I was struggling to believe myself, and I feel if you have such a important person as a coach, and that is just like kind of like getting into your brain every day, that definitely helps. And I don't know, maybe that's a thing I think for many people is like a little bit of a fear of not achieving those goals, because that's obviously a possibility because there's so many external factors you might not have an influence on.
Right.
Is that something that was ever a thing that maybe inhibited a little bit of how you thought about your goals, or not really?
Yeah, I guess you could say, like, my goal was to be a national champ when I was at Missouri Baptist University, like, and then everything happened with my ex, and I pushed through it for that second semester, but he would still bother me and everything, and obviously that did suck. It did drain me a lot mentally, not just in my classes and my practices. I couldn't really do much without thinking about it and crying. So I feel like that has definitely affected me in my wrestling, and that's not something that I planned for. Like, I thought I was going to have a great season, win nationals at the end of the, semester, whatever, but that's not what happened. And yeah, you can't control certain things, and that's just life. And I try to have the mindset of everything happens for a reason, and, there's some days that it's hard for me to believe it, but there's other days that I keep trying to plant that in my head. It happened for a reason. Like, we got to move past it. Let's find. I try to find what the reason is sometimes. Sometimes I can't find it. Sometimes I can't.
you're at Grandview now. You already mentioned the Olympics in 2.5 years' time. I want to have a brief lookout on what you're trying to do in wrestling in the next couple of years.
Like my goals,
Yeah.
I want to be the best. I want to be known as the best. I want to be known as somebody who puts in the work for it as well, like not somebody who slacks off. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like every tournament that I go to, I try to be the best. I try to be dominant. Like I want to leave. And again, another thing that my coach has implanted in my head, like you should be the best athlete in the whole tournament and have like coaches and athletes be like, damn, like she's good. Like I don't want to wrestle her. Like that's my goal. That's my goal.
I want to transition out of wrestling a bit now and get into some stuff outside of it. You mentioned that you had a lot of time to try at least to figure out who is Karoline outside of wrestling and maybe didn't find all the answers, but maybe you found some.
Yeah, I guess you could say. I mean, I started my internship doing the women's wrestling team social media. I did the social media at Missouri Baptist, but I have a lot more time to be able to, put in the work for my shots and edit and everything. So, I mean, that's always fun to do, everything with the videos. I take some photos sometimes here and there. Uh, I try to be a good friend, and be there for people. And still trying to figure out who I am. I started cooking a lot more than I used to.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something.
What's your go-to meal?
Ooh, my go-to. So to make would probably be just plain white rice with habichuelas, so beans, and then plátano, so like a sweet plantain, and yeah, any type of like protein. My go-to is probably shrimp or maybe a steak. So
That sounds
so good.
That sounds very good.
Oh, with a avocado on the side.
I gotta confess, I'm not the biggest fan of plantain, but
Have you tried the sweet ones?
I've been to Guatemala.
No,
that's wrong?
It's not the same. It's not the
Okay.
same. No.
Okay, maybe I have to try that one
Yeah,
then too.
you'll have to try that.
I mean, you're wrestling for Puerto Rico. Did you live in Puerto Rico when you were really young?
Yeah, so I was raised in Puerto Rico. I moved to the Dominican Republic. I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican. And then I've moved back to Puerto Rico for like a year, and that's when we moved to Florida. So I was raised in Puerto Rico. We still have a house down there. We have a couple houses. And I still have the same neighbors that were there before I left. Whenever I came back, they're like, oh my God, are you Caroline? I was like, yeah. They're like, I remember you when you were this little. Yeah. But yeah, I lived in Puerto Rico before like I came to the U.S.
And how is life there different than it is in the U.S.?
It's called that. People call Puerto Rico the island of paradise, pretty much. It's just a great spot to be in. The culture there, like everybody's just nice and they love to help out. I don't want to speak for all U.S., but most people here are kind of like in their own world. They worry about their own selves. Like if somebody gets a flat tire on the highway, how many people do you really think are gonna stop and help? It's not the same thing in Puerto Rico. There's also the beautiful beaches and the island and rainforest. Like it's just a great place to be in, and I just love it so much.
Is it something where you're thinking you want to end up moving back there at some point?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If I'm able to, I definitely want to move back to Puerto Rico and stay there. Things there aren't the best financially, but if I'm able to, I would love to move back.
Yeah, I guess what's your favorite part about Puerto Rico?
Just the beaches and the water. I do paddleboarding. I have my own paddleboard in Puerto Rico, so I used to do that a lot in between my practices and workouts. Like I would work out in the morning and then go to the beach and paddleboard or just swim or just have fun at the beach, to be honest. Or like imagine running next to the beach for whatever 5K, 10K, and then you just finish and you go hop on the beach. Like How does life get better than that? It doesn't. I feel like it's the best thing ever. And then I try to make sure I hit the beach at least once every single day that I was in Puerto Rico. It was such a calming feeling, like, especially with everything that I was going through when I first moved down there. It was just very calming for me and for me to, take my own time and just relax. So it's just great.
Why didn't you just stay there?
I wanted to, but I figured, like, this is my chance to finish my degree and, do what I need to do because I had some unfinished business and it sucked that I didn't finish it because I literally only had one more year, 2 more semesters.
Yeah.
And it sucked that I had to leave. And whatever did happen to me, it sucked. It is what it is. It happened. And it's time to move past it and not let that be the reason I never finished school. Like, that's BS. I should be able to say, you know what, I went through all of this, but guess what? I still got my degree. I still did this, still did that.
Picking up on that, I think that's what I was trying to ask you before is once you're finished with university and wrestling might not be the only thing in your life, what interests you? What do you want to do? You talked about doing the social media stuff and you're getting into stuff like that. That's also kind of your degree. What would be goals in that realm?
So even now, like, I do a lot of videography work, or I run social media accounts for other people outside of Grandview. I would just want to continue that. I want to continue and grow my page for my videography work and just do individual work. I don't want to work under somebody, to be honest. I want to be able to fly to different places and do my work, and somebody's flying me out to do a video shoot, and then I can go wherever in the world that I want to go to and edit it from the beach, from my house, from wherever. That's my goal in life, to work for myself and be able to travel the world because I want to be able to see the whole world one day. That's what excites me. Nothing excites me about sitting down at a desk and working a 9 to 5. Like, that doesn't do anything to my brain. Like, being able to hear, like, can you come to Puerto Rico? Can you come to the Dominican Republic and shoot a video for me? Heck yeah, let's do it. I've been flown out to different parts of the U.S. to shoot some video, especially throughout the summer, mostly wrestling camps, but that's pretty cool. Like, hey, I'll pay for your flight to Virginia for you to come and run our social media for the week and do our videos and edit them. Perfect. Yeah, let's do it. And then they'll pay for my flight, they pay me for my work, and they pay for me to get back home. So that right there is the perfect life for me. And then with that and being able to wrestle for as long as I can, that works perfectly because I still have time to train.
Yeah, that sounds like a good combination, and I can definitely relate to the 9 to 5 struggles. Yeah. They exist in my head very much so too. I feel like probably the love for travel is definitely something we have in common. What's your places on top of your bucket list?
Oh, Japan. Tokyo, yeah, I need to go 100%. I want to visit all the Latin American places.
Okay.
So far, I've been to a couple. I want to visit every single one of them and see the difference between my cultures and theirs as well. I think that's pretty cool. And obviously, see the pyramids. I've been to Mexico, but to compete, I want to actually see Mexico and see everything they have to offer. So those would be kind of my top places. How about you?
What's your favorite thing about traveling?
Like I said, seeing like their different cultures, like how they run different things. Like, one thing I noticed when I went to Spain, they like to walk more than they use their cars. Or like they have bakeries in every single corner and everything tastes so fresh. And you don't really see obese people or like fat people over there. Why? Because everything is so fresh over there. You come back over here, everything's like transportation. You don't really see a lot of people walking anywhere. You don't really see the bakeries and the fresh food. You see fast food at every corner. So seeing those differences, I that's what I like to see. Like, I want to see, how does this compare to what I already know, or like my culture back home, my island. So it's just nice to see and just see the world and everything people have to offer.
I think it's always so funny because you go to school for so much and you learn so much stuff on like an intellectual level. But once I started traveling pretty much the world, that just opened my horizon so much. And I feel like in terms of learning for life, that's where all the experience and everything comes from. And if you're in a position to do it, it's just such a privilege to do it, and the experience are definitely incredible, and Japan is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been?
I've been to Japan for around 3 weeks, and it's probably been like the craziest experience in terms of how kind of surreal stuff is there and how futuristic it looks sometimes. And I was there with a friend, and we just caught ourselves pretty much every day thinking like, why does that not exist everywhere?
Yeah.
It's just so smart. It makes so much sense
Yeah.
with like the randomest stuff. So I'm a big fan of traveling, and that's definitely a cool thing if you're able to do that.
Yeah. Agreed. I feel like there's a difference between like book smart, the people that are great in school, and like world smart, like street smart. There's definitely a difference, and you can kind of tell when people are just book smart and don't know anything about life outside of their books and everything. And that's kind of hard because after school, then reality hits them, and you kind of do have to learn about everything else that's going on outside of school. So.
And I have so many people I know that are often also older than me, but also sometimes my age, that are like, traveling just doesn't mean to them, even though they would have the possibilities. And as much as I know that is their decision, and there's nothing that I have to tell them what to do, I'm just always standing there thinking like, you have such a great opportunity, like,
yeah,
take
they're so like
advantage of it.
small-minded. Like I had people in Missouri, they've never seen the beach before or anything. Like they've never been outside of Missouri or that state. And I was like, do you want to travel? And they're like, oh no, like I'm good where I'm at. I'm like, what do you mean? Like you don't want to see the beach one day? Like you've never seen it before? They're like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like you don't want to see what's out there, not even in the U.S. They're like, no, like I don't see why. Like I have everything I need here. What?
Yeah.
Explore, see the world. You're still young. Why you can, Because eventually, I mean, not everybody, but once you kind of get kids and everything going, you don't really have the same opportunities that you do once you're young. And you don't have kids, and you don't have to think about anybody else but kind of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it also has such an crazy impact on your own personality. I remember like when I first started doing trips, I was very shy and not really thinking I'd be a person to just randomly approach people. And once you're in situations where that's kind of like your way of meeting people, it just opens up so much, and it's like a completely new world next to your bubble, where you're like, if you just kind of put yourself out there, there's so much cool things you can experience with people you never met and you just randomly see, and maybe you'll never ever meet them after that again, and you just have the greatest experiences ever. And
yeah, I agree.
Pretty cool. I have this one question that I always kind of wrap it up with.
Okay.
And that is, what would you tell your younger self starting in life and starting in wrestling?
Believe in yourself more. Like, I feel like I put myself down a lot. I feel like I'm not, everybody's their own, like, worst critic, but I'm, like, really harsh on myself ever since I was younger. So, like, I would tell myself, like, believe in yourself more. Be nicer to yourself. Be kinder. You're doing great. Like, don't change, you don't need to change anything about yourself. Like, if anything, change the people around you instead of yourself. I feel like I was very more, like, I wanted to please everybody. And I've always been a people pleaser. And I don't have to do that. Like, I notice even nowadays, like, sometimes I catch myself doing that, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, Karoline, you don't need to do that. It's okay. Like, they don't have to be a part of your life. And I would tell myself that, like, younger self, that, like, some people aren't meant to be part of your life, and that's okay. Or they're meant to be a pit stop. Like, you met them, cool, something happened, cool, and that's it. Like, you're part of my past now, and that's totally fine. And with wrestling, just keep pushing yourself. You know, you're doing the right things, and as long as you do the right things, you'll see the results. So trust your coach and your corner, and you'll do great things.
When did you come to those conclusions, especially the first one?
Oof. I feel like I'm still learning them, you know. It's kind of hard. Again, like I said, I'm a people pleaser. Like, I try to help everybody as much as I can. I think I have a good heart. I would like to think I have a good heart, you know. And, you know, there's times some people come around and maybe they're not the nicest people or not the greatest influences or whatever the reason might be. Or they might put you down, but sometimes instead of trying to see the good in people or like what they could be, take what they actually show you, you know? Like, even in my past relationships, as in like, you know, boyfriends or whatever, like that's happened before. It's like I'm trying to see their potential, like, oh, but they could be great. Like, they do this little nice thing, like it could get better. No, take those first, you know, red flags and go with them because they're showing you who they are. Not just relationships, friendships, everything that comes along the way, you know. People show you who you are. You just kind of, you got to pay attention.
That is very much true and very much powerful, and I feel like something everybody has to figure out for themselves.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing to figure out.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Yeah. Thank you so much again for joining me today. That was very cool, very insightful. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is cool.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The World of Sports. I hope this conversation sparked your interest in sports and the people behind it. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with a friend and leave me some feedback in the comments. Once again, thanks for joining me in the world of sports.